What is the question today? Some people nowadays make shrines and courts everywhere and sit as rulers. A mausoleum tomb or place which is called. So, how appropriate is this from a scriptural relationship? And is this correct if anyone? People say that because he was a priest in the temple, he died after some time, and then a memorial was built there. For some slightly famous people, they make their memorials. So, where was this? There are gurus too. The prevalence of tombs is in our religious scriptures. Pure poison. In Sanatan Dharma, there is a practice of building memorials in such a manner. The death of a human being is a great purification. Then it's the 16 sacraments we have, starting with conception, beginning what they call the Pantheon ceremony. It's a complete process. In reality, if we were to go into what Hinduism is, what is eternal culture? If we want to understand this in brief, it can be said that our 16 sacraments are indeed our culture. Our entire life is threaded through these 16 rites. Complete guidance is in these Sula rituals. From the conception of being, after that, to perform his naming ceremony, to lead him towards the pursuit of education, transition into married life, then to the later stages of life as a hermit, and finally towards the renunciate life. And after that, the final rites, from full rest to the beginning of life. Life begins from the day we are born. That is not celebrated on the day the soul enters the womb. From that day on, the ceremonies begin. First is the Garbhadana ceremony, the prenatal rite. It happens in the womb. And the final rite, so the rule for the final rite is that cremation should be done. We are obtained from the 5 elements, constructed from them, and must dissolve the body back into the 5 elements. This is the final rites. Now, there is a person in it, in society, for which some rules change slightly for a monk, because when a hermit undergoes the hermitage ritual, the funeral rites are performed. In a way, he becomes deceased. Of all the names, there is a connection. Those who were with him in the previous body were his wife, family, close relatives. All of them perish, all end. In a way, he dies. Therefore, a renunciate who maintains relations with their family after embracing the monastic life, they live among them, or many saints and sages enter their home. Father is a saintly person. Staying around our donkeys, it is said that families within a 10-mile radius should not even drink water during the period of mourning. So such ascetics come to a bad end. But those who adhere to the monastic duty, such ascetics, for them the rule for cremation doesn't apply because rites of passage have already been performed. Yet, if the last rites occur, there is no fault. So there's a provision for water flow for such an area of hermitage. Now there is a new practice like making them mausoleum. These methods. This is a core belief in our societal theology within Hinduism, entered in the form of a terrible deformity. Those who belong to traditions different from the eternal religion, which we also call religious traditions, the circumstances that was their life in such places. There is a shortage of wood there, desert. There was no such situation there that he could perform funeral rites. and they could not stay in one place for a day. They were constantly wandering. So the situation was such that someone died because their foot got stuck in the subway, and the science, which is a way of life from conception to the final rites, involves 16 rituals. They were not a part of their life. Like poets, like indigenous people, it's their tradition. At some black interval in our country, they invaded, and all those elements of culture and tradition came into our country and dominate. In it, our people who are in English culture, Western culture, foreign cultures, even our eternal values are included. We got wrapped up in it and drifted from our past, our faith, and our culture. And that is why these challenging situations have arisen. In an alternative situation, if there's no system, then what do we do? Let's then ground it in reality. Suppress the mourning, but the rule is to perform the Agnihotra cremation ceremony, and it has its own process. Postal rituals are extensively done, and then the remains are ceremoniously immersed in the holy river as per the scriptures. So these principles are, it was expected that all our religious leaders, scholars, and priests should have, it should have been understood that this needed to be established within the seats of society. When such things were happening, there should have been opposition, but unfortunately, that did not happen. There were some accomplished sages who would enter into meditation. To enter meditation means yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana. Samadhi are the disciplines through the 8 limbs of yoga to achieve a state of samadhi. And there were some sages who wished to keep their bodies in meditation for many years. They kept their bodies alive in the tomb so that they could rest in peace, much like Saint Gyaneshwarji Maharaj is doing. One of his disciples was Changdeoji Maharaj, who kept his body in meditation for 1400 years. Some keep it underwater. Saint Ganeshwarji Maharaj is still in a living body today. He is alive. His life force has not been released. Once the life force leaves the body holds no significance. Its importance lies only in the fact that the body houses it. Life is present. When there is no life, it becomes mortal in a way, and that body will start to emit an odor. Right now, our bodies are emitting an odor because of that life force. It is conscious, alive, in animation, fragrant. It is alive, it is sacred, and therefore out of it, an odor is coming. As soon as the life force departs, these 5 elements of the body become disposable. Decay begins in them, and they must be destroyed. Burning it is the only method, but the subtle body of our soul has a life force that is connected with the physical body. In some form, there remains a subtle connection. Like today, you and I are digesting, okay? And between you and me, a conversation is happening. There are no wires in between, but a connection has been made between you and me. If there's even a slight gap in this connection, or if there's any disturbance, then the connection will break. Our tales will continue even if they are unheard. Connections that are invisible but exist, just like this one. Our subtle body is connected to our physical body. Along with the vital breaths we hold, it remains linked. And hence, during Vritak, when the person undergoes Dan Sanskar, it is done at that moment. During Kapal Kriya, it is burnt and the skull is cracked open in a specific manner. The highest consciousness is active in our brains. It is closely connected through thoughts, through waves. And in it, the essence remains because tantric folks keep a skull with them to communicate with the spirit through it. By completing it, we'll alleviate the pain or control it through mantras and then perform the procedures. So any part of you stand tall, Even if it's scattered here and there on earth, it means that you will not achieve salvation yet. She must wait until there's at least one of your spark left in her. And with our body or the elements of the body that turn to ashes after the cremation ceremony, it is related to our divine powers with divine energy. Therefore, it is immersed in the Ganga so that the divinity of the Ganges can connect with our subtle body. Through the influence of wisdom from that subtle universe, those who are souls attain the supreme people. It is written in the scripture, as long as one's remains are in the Ganges, the soul resides in heaven. I read in the Mahabharata, as long as the remains are in the Ganges water for that many thousand divine years, the soul reigns in heaven. They live, they truly live. Hence, any part of our body, one should not stay in the mouth. It should be burnt. It should be turned into ashes, the sky to the sky, the wind to the wind, the brightness into brightness. Water should merge into water and earth into earth, and that's all there is to it. It is our tradition to immerse in the rivers like Ganga, half sacred as they are. This has always been the practice from the beginning. People used to take the relics to different sacred places. Some went to Haridwar, some to Prayagraj, and some to Kashi. Wasn't this what used to happen before? Indeed. How have all these things been forgotten now? You are performing penance today, and the reason for this is also the adversity that they keep wandering in the afterlife. People are suffering in India today because of these tombs. The ghost has become a union, the ghost has become the earth. And not just that, there is a woman today, right now at our place, performing the ritual of Narayan Bali Tripindi. He told me that when his mother-in-law passed away, he had told her right in the fields about what knowledge she has and where, what happens after death, what state one achieves. It's like returning to one's own home. There was such attachment to his body and sorrow that he said, bury my body back there in my sorrow. And what did these people do that their final rites were such? See the rites, see the scriptures, unintelligible thoughts which are reflective will be born of ignorance, not covered by ignorance. Knowledge enlightens beings. When the door of ignorance is covered by knowledge, that's when one is enchanted. These people were running away. Now she's constantly getting in touch with them as a spirit, wondering, saying now that Guruji is recognized by everyone, there will be recognition. Then in their lineage, about 3 or 4 generations earlier, there was someone who was not a sage or hermit, as they were not married. They had no children. They would set up a hut in the fields, and people would believe they became a sage. And how they turned into a sage. It's about values then. Wearing a saint's robe makes you a saint. Military dress turns you into a soldier, doesn't it? It's a process. You see, there is a procedure to it. Such a person named Raviranath Kara came and by just wearing clothes declared, I am a hermit. But that's not possible due to their traditions. Being a hermit is a tradition. If one does not follow the traditions, then they are not truly a hermit. And then he went to Prituni and then built a tomb for him too, since he was a saint. Go ahead and build it. Now he always stays in touch with them. He's now in the realm of spirits, went into the realm of roots, encountered misfortunes. Now he's wandering. The Yarvas and they are also getting troubled now due to such deep family flaws and ancestral faults arising. What is this explanation? And then after this, these people have started considering themselves as gods of the earth. Because of staying for a long time led them to become so attached to that ghostly body in the spirit realm that it then the energy has increased. Now they have become a powerful ghost. And these things in society, Brahman, these things are showing you all around. Therefore, society, the good society, scholars, priests, teachers, everyone must understand this, that the final rites, the procedure for the last rites, should be completed in accordance with the scripturally prescribed method, with all formalities observed. Do not do this. One must be with awareness now. even the offspring must be taken care of. And it became necessary. That's why I performed the ritual, and I am doing it even on these 16 sacraments. I will write in it so that the common person, along with scholars, can know about it. They made it so complex, just like they made the Tarpan Vidi so complicated. The Tarpan Vidi we have offered today is absolutely according to the scriptures, and even a common person can perform it. Did you understand in understanding that in Tarpan, you are offering water to whom? Brahma is there, Vishnu is there, Rudra is there. These are also our ancestors. We should aspire to have at least the same spirit as those wise sages. All these new things in life are causing the ancestors to be reborn. And when Pitrodus is being born, people are getting worried, wondering where this has come from, brother. Why are there problems in life? Why aren't we getting success? Why is there so much unrest? Why is there discord in the house? People have beautiful homes beyond their first one, lots of money. Many families are no longer as large, just living normally, yet there are so many comforts and conveniences. Yet why is life so restless? Why are so many people anxious about the future, restless and sad? The reason for this is that we have forgotten our 16 sacraments. There used to be at least the Karanveer sacrament. We have forgotten that. Knowledge also forgot rituals. Yagwapavi rites were forgotten. And then some people created so much confusion in society as if they had not created confusion in texts like Mahabharata. Reading is not just about scriptures. If you read them, there will be discord in the home.